What the 9/11 era was largely defined by, and it was largely politics of fear. That was essentially the dominating political mentality that was driving a lot of the conversation.
I sort of view it as domestic policy analysis through a foreign policy lens, and I think the piece sort of comes out of assessing all the things that were happening in 2020. With 2020, I think being sort of a year that would naturally end an era. And I think when the concept of an era is sort of a historical invention used by historians to sort of make sense of the past.
For the past 20 years, terrorism in the Middle East and issues related and associated with that broader set of issues, and essentially security in the Middle East, have been the dominant national security, foreign policy, political conversation in America. And it wasn't in 2020. It was China. China was the big political issue. Russia was another one. And those are two, that's quite different than the way it's been for the previous 19 years.
I think there is little illusion around Berlin, but also I would say around the European Union on the importance of domestic factors on US foreign policy. And so this paper has a great value because it adds substance to this. It explains, first of all, the domestic mechanics, but then also shares a lot of thoughts how this will play out in US foreign policy. And this is really the moment in time where Europeans should be very interested in reading this, because we are still in this phase where we don't quite know. Now, what does the US represent for Europe today? I would say the perspective is realist in the sense of we know we have a window of opportunity, which in the best case may last more than 4 years. It may only last 4 years, and it may also only last 2 years until the midterm elections, depending on how the domestic situation plays out. So the time span to actually define an ambitious and positive transatlantic agenda is quite short. And now looking at domestic politics in Europe, these are really difficult years because Germany is going for general elections this year and France will be going for presidential elections next year. So we are actually in a domestic election cycle in Europe where the two largest countries their attention will be inward looking.